So hello, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another.
So I've started recording here.
Another Assetto Corsa Competizione
Just,
video.
Very rushed tonight, getting ready for this race.
As you can see,
Let's see if we can put in a few test laps.
just getting ready for a race that I did a number of weeks ago. I've been away working for the past 3 weeks.
Slightly different temperatures.
And this was just one of the races that I did prior to leaving.
I've got my fan running.
I thought there was a lot went off for myself during this video that I thought I could share. And
Not sure whether I'll feature this before I'm away.
yeah, maybe some people could get a little bit of
Working.
learning from race strategy throughout this video. Maybe a little bit of preparation towards the race as well. I think I was quite late coming in to get the car set up. I don't really think I spent enough time studying what the car was doing. I know the ACL servers generally seem to be open a little bit longer than I think a little bit longer than they would usually be open for, if you can understand that.
Just trying to get
Sometimes you
an
can
idea
come
of
in.
tyre temperatures.
Yeah, sometimes you can come in maybe half an hour before the race is actually going to start if the servers aren't being used for something else. And I think that time would definitely have been better spent
Just settle down into a flow.
just getting the tyres in the right window, really. I think the temperatures were a little bit hotter than I'd been practicing, and when I came into this session I had actually closed the brake ducts, maybe running 3 or 4 at the front, 2 at the rear. And I think through the session, once the tyres started to get hot, they really did start to run outside the best operating window, I think. But yeah, that's all I'm doing at the minute, just running comfortable laps, just trying to see where the tyres are at, really, what sort of temperature window they're going to be running in. I think initially it's the front left tyre that's the biggest issue. Obviously coming through that chicane there really is probably one of the toughest sections of the circuit, really, getting the car set up to handle those curves comfortably. And this was a spec race in the 2015 Audi R8, so every car is running the same car. Obviously we all get time to tweak the setup. You can see there I'm just switching between 1 traction control and 5. But you can see the left hand side of the car, the tyres are getting very hot. Very yellow in colour rather than a green colour.
Well done, mate. Personal fastest lap.
So a very short free practice session. Not many cars really getting in the way, which was pretty good. I think I've got another race I'll be running on this Thursday. I do like the 7 o'clock race. Just sits well within my evening, I think. As you can see there, just looking at the adding 1 litre of fuel mid in the race. Obviously you can start prepping for that already, really, with your pit strategy. But yeah, the Thursday night race I think is at Barcelona. But I think I'll be running the BMW. as much as I do have quite a nice setup for the Ferrari, I think with the way the BMW is currently, I think it's the fastest car in the field, to be honest, at the minute. And I think while I'm just trying to build my rating points through the XCL website,
Yellow flag in
there's
sector
no
2.
point really making life harder for myself. Other people are running the BMW, so I think it's just makes sense just to run the BMW in all the races at the moment. It's pretty much the fastest car and the easiest car to handle around any of the circuits, I think. I think it was quite evident the last time I did a session at Imola. So as you can see, I'm just making a quick pit stop as well, just see where the pit entry is, just so that I know the sort of line coming into the pit. There is that mandatory pit stop that we're going to be doing mid-race at some point, so just knowing your entry line into the pit is something worthwhile.
Quite high temperatures, higher than I would have liked. 24.9, 25.9.
So yeah, as I mentioned there,
So I've dropped them 3 psi, 25.1.
obviously just changing the pressures for the tyres that I might swap onto, just in case something random happens during the race.
So just getting my tyre pressures sorted for in the race.
I definitely think I should have gone to the aero package here and just opened up the brake ducts and then done another run to get the tyres into the temperature window again. Obviously I'd have had to have used the qualifying session to do that.
I've got a couple of marks on the screen as well that are annoying me.
But obviously you can see they're still topping out the leaderboard, which I was very surprised at, but I didn't particularly run a qualifying session there anyway. I don't think anyone did, to be honest.
Not particularly tried to run a qualifying lap, that lap. So quite surprised to be P1 if anyone. I don't think anyone's tried to set a qualifying lap in this session. I think this is just a standard session just to get your tyres into a temperature window. So obviously heading back to work tomorrow, just trying to get one last race in to try and build up those points. A couple of SLR drivers in. Maybe a Berserker I've seen before. Not really seen any of the others. Obviously Jan Hartog. SLR Davey and Alluvian, all good drivers. Feeling quite cool. I might actually turn my fan off. I normally just put my fan on just to cool my wheel, keep it nice and cool. I think that's going to annoy me that way, so I might put that round that way. Ugh. So looking at my qualifying setup, probably will just run 18 laps. Make sure I've got a new set of tyres on. We've just got a fuel stop at the scheduled mandatory fuel stop. I'm just going to put 1 litre in. No tyre changes. A couple of drivers not even sat a lap. Good to see at least 19 drivers on the grid though. A couple of drivers still out practicing. I might just switch chat to mute. I just want to focus on the race, to be honest. It's not just about creating content. I am actually wanting to put a good session in, and I don't really like to hear people chatting away. It's different if you're just in an online lobby. I think where you want to just focus on your racing, it's good just to not have any distractions. Keen to just get on with it, but I think we're gonna, oh yeah, there we go.
Green light, go, go, go.
See if we can get straight out. No, a lot of drivers straight out. I'll go out there, I think.
So as you can see then, just heading out, qualifying session is definitely all about trying to find a good space on the track to be able to get your lap in. Obviously I've got quite a big section ahead of me, but I'm also wanting to try and get the tyres up to temperature as well. Obviously a whole stream of traffic behind me as I come to the bus stop here. I'm assuming the other 350 driver as always is trying to create a gap as well for himself.
Tyres and brakes still very cool.
So as you can see here, just applying a bit of brake pedal, trying to steer clear. I could probably have moved off to the left hand side. I could probably have even indicated at this point just to let other drivers know that I'm not really doing anything. But as much as they've gone ahead, obviously they need to build,
just trying to build
that gap. You can see definitely in F1 this circuit really, well, not in this particular circuit, but you can see this scenario in many races where drivers are trying to build a gap but also get good temperature into the tyres, ready to do a flying lap. So I've not got much choice here but to just start going for it. I've got all the other drivers that are also wanting to put a lap in, so
tyres not quite in the window.
Very short space of time. I guess it's going to be a case of really doing 2 fine laps. But I still really do hate how sometimes through turn 1 there you manage to shift down when you want to shift down, and then sometimes it just doesn't allow you to shift down through the gears. It really does change the sort of approach that you would attack turn 1. Through here I am just attacking the curbs here, but I really did fear attacking them so aggressively during the race. Still kind of just building the tyre temperatures as well this lap. The car certainly doesn't feel like it felt earlier in the day's practice sessions that I'd run. Always feels slightly different temperatures as you come to do online races. There's definitely some like final tweaks that you need to do with the car as you come into different lobbies, even if it's very similar settings. And definitely a corner that I feel, this one's definitely one where there's loads of time to be made by keeping a high apex speed. So you can see the tyre temperatures, front tyres just getting a little bit too high temperature wise. On the left hand side of the car again, wish I'd opened up the brake ducts. So you might see as well through the video that I created on how I sort of go about
Yellow
practicing
flag in sector 3.
at circuits. I was hitting like a really low 145, even sometimes into the 144s. But just don't seem able to get anywhere near that in this session. Yeah, terrible lap there, going through the bus stop. Just not got the confidence in the car at all at the minute. It seems a little bit eager on the turning. Just feels a little bit weird, I think. Maybe the whole package just not working as expected.
Still getting very hot.
Tyre wise. I'm not sure if I'll change the dashboard here, because there is a setting within the dash where you can actually see the tyre temperatures. This might be something I do during the race. Just seem a little bit too eager there, turning in. So as you can see there, just swapping. You can see the tyre temperatures there on the right hand side. So you've got 99, nearly 100 at the front left tyre, and then 96. Really want to be no higher than 95 really.
Yellow flag in
I
sector
think that's what it mentions, yeah, 95 there. I'm sure that's what it mentions on the Coach Dave website. I think they run between 75 and 95. So trying to keep a really tight line through there. Thankfully the other cars just ran off perfect really as I was catching him. Just running a little bit wide through there, not able to get the power down as quickly as I'd like to. Lose a couple of tenths. So getting very close to a
Yellow flag ahead,
144.
watch out in front.
So just looking ahead there, can't see any issue.
Yellow flag ahead, be careful.
Didn't quite get the turning I wanted there, lost a bit of time on the exit.
Well done, mate. Your fastest lap so far.
So I'm just going to go for another lap I think.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
So as much as the tyre pressure is looking good,
There's a slow car up ahead.
and obviously the brake ducts you can see that
Cut detected.
fairly
Got some
open.
light damage on the
Carrying
front
too
of the
much
car.
speed.
Box, we have to.
I think it was just an imbalance as I went to brake rear that it just turns the car a little bit too much. But I think as much as the tyre pressures did seem alright, I think opening the brake ducts, just one more click would
You
have
can
been a
add a
better
little bit
option.
more. In fact, the other way. Just add a little bit more stability, I think. Seeing as we're a tiny bit quicker.
So just lowering the rear of the car is just going to make the car a little bit more stable. Obviously we get less turning, we could probably induce a little bit of understeer, but it's going to make the car a little bit more stable. It will affect lap times, but again, it's all about trying to finish the race without incidents like we've just seen through the bus stop there. Obviously that would just be a race ending incident. Another car just coming past there, just allowing him to get on his way. Obviously I'm just coming out the pit. A little bit of racing etiquette. I think a number of drivers, especially in public lobbies, don't seem to take things like that into consideration when they just pull out the pit. Other people are on flying laps. So really anyone that approaches me at the minute, I would consider them to be on a flying lap and just get out of the way. Obviously if I start catching this guy ahead, I would assume that he's binned his lap. But yeah, just trying to get heat back into the tyres. Just 1 minute left really in the session. Enough time to just do one flying lap, so just trying to make it count. No one behind, so plenty of time to warm the tyres. But really want to try get them into a 27 window really before you start a lap. Anything below 27 psi is not going to really offer you the best levels of grip. But obviously we need to be entering the last turn really at full speed, carrying that speed out onto the start finish straight.
Yellow flag, be careful.
So flat out again.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
So really slow coming down through the gears there. You can see very detrimental on the exit of turn 1, losing nearly 2/10 all the way through this sector.
Yellow flag ahead, watch out.
And then just a horrible sensation through there off the curbs, and really no point continuing with that lap at all.
Lap invalidated.
Just change that balance a tiny bit. So that's just a fuel now, 60 litres of fuel. We're going to put 61 in, let's put 62 in. Tyres might get a little bit too hot, quite high track temperatures.
Yellow flag in sector 2.
It's not been a great test, to be honest. Just need to be braking earlier for that chicane. Definitely brake a little bit earlier for the chicane. Now just look over your setup. 28, 35. I'm going to use a new set of tyres. Slightly increase the brake balance. I think that was better, higher as well. I think I changed that the other day. Just lowered the rear end a little bit more stable through the rear of the car. Just gonna have to.
Just got a tiny piece of kinesiology tape that's just hanging off my
Just a
wheel.
tiny bit of.
I just did a little wrap on it the other day, and it's just bugging me.
Wheel that's annoying me.
Just a little trimmage.
So definitely comfortable.
All these little things that we go through to start a race.
Turn my
Just
fan
make
on.
yourself comfortable. That's definitely one of the main things.
30 minutes, 28, 35. So track temperature could get a bit hotter. 60 litres of fuel. Just going to come in for the one
I
stop.
certainly wouldn't usually sit and talk to myself at the start of the race if I wasn't filming it.
Quickly go
These are
through
definitely
the
all the
grid.
things that I'm thinking about.
Not sure where I'm going to pit. Hopefully towards the end.
You see the other driver just down the bottom there, Jefferson. I'm not sure he actually realised he was in the BMW, but he was actually
First time
in
leading the
the
pack
BMW.
around. And I'm on the dirty side of the grid. Best, well, it's good and it's bad points really, being on the dirty
I'm
side.
not sure actually being on the dirty side of the grid does make a difference on the start-finish straight.
Quickly go
Obviously
into
you've got all
setup
the
and
extra
come
rubber
back
that's
to the
there
main.
as well, but
20
Try and
seconds.
keep the tyres
I'm
warm.
assuming that in the game it's just dirty rubber that's going to be making your tyres dirty.
Quickly.
10
It
seconds.
is annoying sometimes when you're just loading in like that, when it takes a while to
Quickly
go
gonna
through
put
the
1
setup.
litre in. We're not going to change that. That's the last time we need to see that screen.
So it's all about getting the tyres nice and warm then, with a warm-up lap. Everyone's just trying to build temperature through the tyres.
We're going to 64.6 is the brake balance.
So obviously you can see I've moved the brake balance
So
all
you
the
get
way
tyres
rearward as
nice
far as
and
I
warm
can,
now.
just to try and heat both front and rear tyres. Obviously just remembering what the brake balance was before doing that. You see the front brake disc getting very hot, and obviously all that temperature will radiate through the tyre when I release the brake. Rear brake's getting very hot now.
Getting nice and hot.
Definitely a much better way to warm your tyres than just weaving back and forward. It's not taking any life out of the tyres, and as I'm sure someone mentioned this before, you just wouldn't do this in a proper GT3 car. It would just glaze over the brake discs, and they wouldn't particularly offer the best braking performance really for the rest of the race. But obviously it's just a game, so
64.6.
we can do stuff like this.
So I'll try not to do anything with the tyres now, just 28
I
degrees.
could probably have got them
28.
hotter than that, I think, so that they remain hot as we sort of approach the start of the race. Obviously they're just losing temperature again now. Probably get them up to about 29 at this point, and then just allow them to just cool off a little bit. Definitely something I'll remember for the next race. So as you can see, just accelerating and braking just doesn't really warm the tyres that much. Just made sure I've got my brake balance back to where I wanted it. And you can see I'm having to warm the tyres again using this same scenario. Much better display, I think.
I do like seeing that dash. See the tyres, fairly good temperature all round. It's just slightly high PSI.
Going
Well, it
double
will be
file.
when we start the race. You can see we're already hitting 90 degrees temperature, and the PSI is nowhere near where it should be on the front left tyre. So it was something I really did need to look at here, because at the start of the race, obviously you wanting to be side by side really with the other driver, and obviously I can't really look across and see where Alluvian actually is, but he seems so much further ahead at the start of the race. He's almost maybe 2 or 3 car lengths actually ahead of me when we come to start the race. I'm just sort of looking across really. So he kind of starts to pull ahead now. You can see him going way ahead. And he must be a good, yeah, 2 car lengths ahead.
Car on the left. Clear on the left. Car on
So
the left.
definitely watching that radar now. Obviously I can see he's a little bit
Clear on the
further
left.
ahead.
Really long race to go yet.
Yeah, as much as I'm catching him here, overtaking into this, it would be a really silly thing to do really, to try and get alongside at this point. You see the other car just behind.
Car on the right.
I'm
Clear on
sure
the
it
right.
was Jan, I think. It was just very close going into there and probably nearly wiped me out. Luckily no one touched.
Let's just get the tyres warm, get through that
So
one.
yeah, just trying to calm myself down here. Obviously we've started the race and we've got another half an hour to go yet, so definitely no need to make silly manoeuvres. Just get the tyres in a good window. And you can see the time and the race that's left in the rear view mirror at the top there, but sometimes that has a tendency to disappear, but it's always visible just down the bottom left corner. So just braking at that 200 yard board for turn 1. I'd usually brake at the 300 yard board coming into the chicane through the bus stop. Really try and smash the first curve really with all 4 tyres to keep the car stable. But I'm really sort of thinking of braking a little bit earlier, sort of around the 350 mark. Really try and get much more hooked up on the inside there. The line I'm taking there just really doesn't have anywhere near as much grip. I do like to stay nice and tight through there.
Changing that balance has made a massive difference, but
Yeah, definitely not got as much turning as I wanted. But I'd like to think it made the car a little bit more balanced. And the third sector really was the sector that I was struggling with most during my previous video. This is the third sector was where I was losing all my time really against the AI.
certainly keeping me very honest.
So 146.5, obviously miles away from the pace that we're setting in qualifying. Obviously running 60 litres of fuel, but I wouldn't have thought that it would have been that big a difference. So the whole left side of the car, really, the tyres are kind of outside the temperature range that you want them in. You see, I'm just so much more tentative hitting that first curb. Much better line this time through.
Just braking a little bit earlier than I would normally.
Just running wide there. I think just following Alluvion, just taking my eye off the braking lines and
Just taking my eye off.
obviously thinking the same thing.
Picking up dirt on the tyres.
So definitely not wanting to let him get too far ahead here.
Settle into a rhythm now. Don't let him get too far away.
You can see there just going through the lap times. Alluvion's still in the 146s. A couple of other drivers behind, all in the 147s, including myself on that lap. Definitely needing to hook up that inside line more. So yeah, really not sure where to go with the channel at the moment. Kind of producing content. There's so much content out there at the minute for games like this and other guys putting stuff together. I'm kind of just enjoying these races online. Not particularly doing setups for every other car. Yeah, just not sure what to do with the channel at the minute. Obviously a fair bit of speculation at the moment with regarding what's happening on the 19th of April.
Quicker for that last sector.
I think all the new stuff that's coming, new cars, probably going to be new tracks. The biggest update that the game has seen since its release, supposedly. I'm sure that'll come to us later in the year, September time I'd have thought. Obviously we seem to be a few months behind the PC releases. So you can see, looking at the leaderboard on the left hand side, there's a number of drivers already pitted with the green section, and the one just shows that these drivers are still yet to pit. We've still got one pit stop to serve. If you had to do 2 pit stops, the 2 would be there. So it's starting to rain Alluvion in a little bit. We've got Davey just behind. I'm sure speaking to Alluvion after the race, I think he said he'd gone a little bit too conservative with his own setup. Not sure how much time he spent on his setup. Obviously you can see I've not picked up fastest lap at any point. I think Aluvin's fastest lap was a 46.1, I think. Or maybe even to the 45s. See, we've got a good run here, definitely picking up the slipstream. Definitely covering off the inside. Definitely not going to put it around the outside through the bus stop. Obviously Aluvin's gone a bit wide. Keeps going a little bit wide through here as well. But yeah, definitely covering off the inside line. And these are the questions you really need to start asking yourself: is it worth battling on the circuit for this position? Obviously we're in very similar cars, we're hitting very similar lap times. You're kind of hoping that the driver ahead's going to make a little bit of a mistake. Or we've got a pit stop window that we can use. Obviously you can see I'm just taking the pit stop option here.
Car on the left.
Get the car slowed down. Get
my stop done now.
Activated.
He's just holding me up.
And you can see I'm just going to go through actually how long my pit stop is from entering the pit lane to actually getting out of the pit lane. Obviously very hard to do this actually in a race, but I'm sure someone would do this in F1 or in any other GT series.
The mandatory stop is now clear. Come on, let's go.
So the full length of the pit stop from entering, crossing the pit line to leaving is 34 seconds. So I'm really wanting a good outlap here.
Need to have a good outlap here.
Just up ahead. It's just been in the pits.
Yellow flag.
But this is really the option where Aluvian kind of should have seen me coming into the pit, knowing he's got to cover me off really. Really no idea what this guy was doing, so it really did mess up my outlap.
That's not what I needed.
I just didn't know why he pulled off to the right so harshly. So you can see the triangle driver on the race map coming round, just sort of getting round to the start finish line now. I'm kind of looking at driving the circuit and whether Aluvian's actually going in the pit. So if he'd actually gone in the pit at this point,
at least he's going round to do another lap.
you can see I put the timer up there, so we've got 30 seconds for him to be in the pit as well. I think you can see for yourself it's going to be a slam dunk really.
Just
if
me
he'd
on
gone
my
and
own
done
now.
his pit stop.
This is all about the undercut.
So he should have been exiting the pit and that would have been the race win. I'd have had to have done it on the circuit really, and had to have caught him. I must have had a terrible outlap. There'd probably have been about 6 seconds off him now on the circuit. So very much worthwhile thinking about when to take your pit stops. Definitely recommend watching back your laps. There's definitely a lot to look at through these sessions, even for myself, just to learn from your mistakes really.
He's gone to do another lap.
So definitely way too hot the left hand side of the car. Front left tyres really being punished. Pity you can't independently open each side of the car brake duct wise. Obviously it would probably really imbalance
We are halfway through. Keep pushing.
the car probably under braking performance wise, but I think just trying to see which cars are around me. It's very hard to understand who I'm racing against at this stage in P7. Obviously you can see all the guys ahead of me yet to pit. See the other guys, Spring Sphere in blue, obviously he's a lapped car. Bomber Manu, also a lapped car. So it seems to be everything wrong really, tyre pressure wise. Could have done with a tiny bit more pressure I think in the tyres. I think I go on a bit about the tyre pressures, but they are so detrimental to getting the car dialed in. Probably is the most important part of the setup, is getting good tyre pressures throughout the race.
Well done, mate. Personal fastest lap.
So I guess it's really trying to gauge where P1 is as I come across the start-finish line.
Need to be hitting lower lap
I
times.
think he was just hitting the bus stop as we go over the start-finish.
Slightly off tyre temps.
Might be worth just having a look at that each time we go across the start-finish line. I think I was very disappointed at where the predicted lap is heading at this point. The car's very understeery,
Yellow flag in sector 1.
very much middle of the road 146s, which is disappointing considering I was hitting like low 140s during the qualifying session. Maybe just those small changes that I made to the setup really have a big impact on how the car's performing. Definitely catching the other guy from, I think it was about 17 seconds a while ago. So unless he's actually in the pit lane, we're definitely catching him hand over fist at the minute. So if we just look crossing the start-finish line, and Lubin's nowhere near the bus stop at that phase. So whether he's had a little problem during that lap.
Don't push too hard.
So running very wide through there. Probably a good exit, but just not feeling confident in the car at all. Do enjoy Watkins Glen though. Very nice to see it in the game.
Tyre, front left tyre's getting very hot.
Yeah, I've definitely been watching a few of the Forza videos as well. Really, I think we're going to be very disappointed.
It's good
with
consistent
it being a
lap
sim
times.
game or a sim racer. I think it's just going to be the standard arcade game from Forza, to be honest. I think looking at the amount of footage that we've already seen, very little in-car footage, very little in the way of wheels being used in any of the footage. It's very much looks like a control pad game, which is disappointing really. I think they probably should have just called it Forza 8. I don't think it's going to be going down the avenue that a lot of us really did want it to. Whether Ren Sport's going to come to console, a long way off. But I think having seen a few videos of Ren Sport, I still think ACC's at the top of the game really when it comes to GT3 racing. Whether AC2 is going to steal the limelight in a number of years, but I think we've still got another 2 years at least before that might possibly come to console. Maybe even longer.
Very different pace.
So I'm just going to keep an eye on Illuvian again here as we come over the start-finish line, because he really is dropping back considerably. Only just entering the long back straight, so definitely catching sort of the middle of the back straight as we cross the start-finish line now. You can see he's managed to get the fastest lap of the race. It's showing that he's actually done his stop there as well. So the guy actually in the lead. Isn't Illuvian, which I thought throughout the entire race. So Illuvian, looking at the lap there, is actually a long way.
26 seconds.
Which feels quite astonishing actually at the minute, looking at that. Something I wasn't really aware of until just watching this replay right now.
Yellow flag, be careful.
So one of the drivers has pulled in the pit here, which means I'll go up to P1, P2. RZ Astonash is currently in the pit doing his pit stop, and then we've got Lyco PT. He's the only driver left out not to do his stop.
There's a slow car ahead.
So you can see there we move up to P2.
Cheers, man.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
So yeah, I wish I'd actually looked at that earlier in the video, really, to see when Alluvian did his pit stop.
Can't get anywhere near a really bad time.
But you can see the tyre pressure is definitely getting lower now. As soon as we start to head towards 27s, just not going to be hitting the good level of grip at all.
Yellow flag ahead. Be careful.
Tyre
Certainly
pressures
need
are
to
just
fix
way
this
off.
issue as well. The drivers that have gone off and created a yellow flag incident and returned to the pit, and then you get the yellow flag every single time you pass the pit lane, or set to 1.
Yellow flag in sector 1.
Obviously the yellow flag issue is just the driver sat in the pit. So I'm really trying to push on this lap as well. You can see the lap delta's green. I'm just trying to go for this fastest lap of the race. So just losing too much time on the exit there. And you see the tyre temperatures just way up again. I did start to wonder whether how much fuel I'd got on board at this stage. Obviously we're getting a flashing red light.
Keep looking whether he's pitted or not.
I should have been looking at the leaderboard, knowing that he was in 6th. It's amazing these things that you don't think about while you're actually racing. So looking at the guy in 2nd place, or just behind me really, he's only just coming over the start finish line. So 18 seconds behind. And looking at, obviously I'm 25 seconds behind the guy in P1, and knowing now that a pit stop's going to take about 34 seconds, I should be in the lead by around 10 seconds when he comes out of his pit stop. So always scary approaching back markers in the final stages of a race. But very nicely pulled off to the right hand side there. Spring sphere, I think. But yeah, really interested to see where the races are going to go when we start getting fully bronze. But this is when the guy in P1 has pulled into the pits now.
It's going to be close.
I think I do actually stop. Yeah, I actually stopped. My capture card actually stopped there. So this is footage from the replay as we go through here.
Any details? So as we come past now, Alluvian
It's not
is
actually
actually in the
Alluvian,
pits.
which I didn't know until right now.
just comes up to register then.
So the whole premise of the video was about when to take your pit stop, really. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the event.
So it's still not registered, but I think I'm in P1 at this stage. I think I've just proper slowed it down really this lap. Yeah, into P1 then. I think I was just catching Alluvion. Just shows you don't have to be the fastest.
Quickly.
Set the fastest lap. And I think battling with him would have been harder on the circuit. And I know it takes a lot away from the racing, but I think being strategic with that pit stop obviously made a massive difference between winning. I can see why they do it in F1. Just go for the undercut and then you can just run your laps. You've got no one else in your way stealing your downforce, and it is understandable as to why it's such a useful tool when it comes to winning races. You don't get involved in any antics really. You could see the other guy catching us quite quickly in the early stages. I'll come on board maybe for some donuts.
Definitely
Pretty
interesting
happy
to watch
with
it
that.
back myself, to be honest. You've got to love a donut at the end of a race. Shows a couple of other guys getting involved.
Still with 3 litres of fuel left, so I was quite happy I put in 62 litres. Put in 1 litre in the stop as well. So I finally got the win. I thought I'd pressed save. So it'd just be me driving around on my own, which is pretty boring. It would have been nice to have seen the lap start. But yeah, I really enjoyed setting the car up. Hopefully you enjoy the other video that sort of brings me on to how I went about setting the car up. I'll enjoy myself a nice glass of whiskey now. 3 weeks away. It is looking really good. The replays. Finally managed to change that abbreviation as well, so we've got RAT on the screen. Nice little touch to be able to see it in the replay. Does look pretty good, doesn't it? A few little blemishes here and there, but yeah, the replays are really smart. Well, thanks for watching. Not sure when I'll be posting this video. I don't think I'm going to get time to edit it before I go away. So this will be something I'll have to do when I get back. But as always guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully see you on track at another event. Until next time, ciao for now.